Hey everybody, and welcome to the Artisan School. I think we're recording. Stacy's going to give me the heads up just to be sure, and we are, which is awesome. Welcome everybody, and I'm really glad to see everybody here this early on a Friday. We do these all week long, and the Friday version is kind of like a coffee hour, which is really great because it's the start of the weekend, and we just get to kind of unwind and do fun stuff. And today is a really fun thing. And here at the school, we have a lot of pianos. This is the Artisan School, and Classic Pianos, which has multiple locations around the country, has been connected to Artisan for the last 2 decades. I go to their weddings, and we're friends, and it's really amazing. And when they heard about what we're doing with the school, we met together, and they wanted to be involved. And what involved meant was actually really being involved. And in this case, they've actually brought in pianos, not only for us to teach on, but this is a concert grand that's actually going to be used to do concert events at the school in the evenings in the Oregon City downtown area. And so we're really excited about that. And it's just going to be a thing for the community. But this is a Yamaha CFX. So this is their handmade. This is post Busendorfer acquisition. For those that don't know this, and can I get a thumbs up from you, Jacob, just to make sure I'm not frozen? Okay, thank God. I was like, I am talking a lot. And this is post Busendorfer acquisition. So that means that I believe it was a dozen years or so ago, 10 years ago, Busendorfer actually was purchased by Yamaha with the stipulation that they didn't have to change anything. They just kind of got a blank check to just do what they do. And in return, Yamaha would get to have this high-end luxury, handmade product in their umbrella, but also they would have access to the technologies, the wood sources, and things of that nature that they can then put in their high-end pianos. And so this is that. I believe this is right around $200,000, and this is something that's going to be more and more on the concert stages. Right now, Steinway has historically been the dominant force on the concert stages, but we're now seeing more Busendorfers, we're now seeing more Yamahas on the stage, and it's pretty cool to see that variety. I've never tuned this piano before. Jacob, have you tuned one of these?
I haven't tuned one yet, but I have played on one, and you can definitely feel the difference. There is, when everyone gets a chance to mess with one of these, there is a noticeable difference, and it's hard to describe, but it's definitely a step up.
Unfortunately, Yamaha has gotten a bad rap over the years, even when I go to customers' house and I say, you want to do work on your piano, or are you interested in a new one? Yeah, I'm interested in a new one, but not a Yamaha. It has such a bright, Yamahas are bright. I'm like, ugh. So it's shocking for people to play their handmade pianos or even their X series, because again, those are that Busendorfer Yamaha hybrids. There's just a warmth. There's more of a bell-like tone. There's a growl in that bass sound that we really want. Can you all hear that, by the way? Okay, thank you. So this is going to be one that they're going to have in their concert fleet. That's a C&A, Concert and Artist Series, or C&E for Concert and Events. So this is something that will make its way all around Oregon and go to these high-end events. And so it's going to be really fun, because when we do our in-person retreats, we're going to actually go to Classic Pianos, and they have over 400 pianos in inventory. It's absolutely epic. Last time we were here, Stacy went. They gave her the grand tour, and they're going to be doing the same thing for us and all the attendants at our in-person event. And we're going to get to really play and mess around with all of these pianos. So I have a choice. It's always nice to have choices, but I'm debating on what to tune this with, and I'm open for requests.
Cork. Always
Cork?
Casado.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Always.
Cork. Wow. Cork. We got some loyal So this will officially be. This is funny because this is literally the third time I've ever held this. Stacy knows.
You guys, the
He's
text
holding
keep
it with
borrowing
three fingers, guys. He's holding it with 3 fingers. Ah!
Two.
The text keep borrowing it. He's never gotten to use it.
That's why we want to see it used.
All right.
Yeah,
The
you have
cork
doubts
it
about
is.
carbon fiber levers? No longer.
Okay, we're doing cork. Let's do it. So I've already done my recording. And by the way, thank you, Rayburn, for sending this brand new refurbished device to us for the school. They heard that I was like, it's really cool. They heard that I was like, oh, I use a little iTouch, and I'm wanting to, we're doing this course and everything, and they're like, oh, well, maybe show it on this. It's a bigger screen, and it actually has a better microphone, and it works really well. So I'm like, thank you. That's
more updated technology.
It's a little bit better. And it's better for my aging eyes, because now I'm like, wow, that's really clear. So I've already recorded it. I'm going to find a good spot for this, and we're going to start to tune the piano. And I know I went black. I went back. We're coming back. Every time that happens, you just let me know. Let's calculate it, 9 foot. I'm really into, by the way, I like the Smart Tune feature. I'm going to move all these levers out of the way. For me, I'm all about the Smart Tune. I know that people are like, well, this is a concert grand, and maybe do a concert grand thing. I'm like, yeah, that's fine, but I always just like doing the Smart Tune feature, and that's what I do. Let's go start new, and it spits me off at A0, which is great. I'm going to kind of have this going as well as that going, and I believe it's sharp. Wow, just the way this lever feels is interesting. Just the texture of it. It is an interesting texture, and I like that. This is literally the first time I've used this tuning lever, and I'm sorry, Randy. I'm sorry, Randy, if you're gonna watch this. You're like, wait, I made this thing, I slaved over it, and this is the first time. What?
Everyone was in line to try it, though. We had to let our techs try first. So
We did.
Generous
We did.
that way.
We're generous that way. All right, let's tune a piano. What do you think? Think we can get it done in a half an hour? We'll see. Okay, just so you all know, the reason I don't like tuning concert grands, it's so ridiculous, but it is a thing. And Jacob, I'm so curious if you know the reason. This is the reason I do not like tuning concert grands. Actually, there's 2 reasons. One is
The bass strings?
oh, who said that? Who said
The
that?
tri-bass strings?
Exactly. It feels like I'm tuning 2 pianos. Because you have all these trichords right here, the last, half octave before the treble. You have all trichords right there, and it kills me. And it shouldn't kill me, but it's like, for that reason, I like tuning spinets. Because a friggin' spinet has like a monochords and then bichords halfway through the entire piano. And it feels like you can blow through it really quick. So. Okay, I'm gonna just show you. This is throwing me off, and you guys are gonna crack up. I'll find it. Just a second. This is what I'm used to, and this is really throwing me off. What I'm doing right now.
That is such a gorgeous piano. Just that view right there.
This is what I'm used to. Like that. And now I have like a jumbo screen. It feels weird.
Welcome to your 40s.
It's so true. Can you all hear it?
We can definitely see it too really well. It's awesome.
Jacob, this is the piano we're going to be doing the aural tuning portion.
Oh, you're spoiling me.
Hey,
That's gonna be
Stacy.
easy.
Stacy.
Yeah.
After this and after Victor's story time, do you think that we could also show the people here the ABC section of the Explore course?
Yes, I think that is very, very doable. Yes, absolutely.
So, first thoughts now that I'm tuning with this Casado. I love the texture and the feel of it. I feel like I'm a mile away from the tuning pin. And this is just as a reference. I think it's why. So, whoopsie. That's for size comparison. This is what 25 years of using, 20 years of whatever, and just now. So, and the tip is actually pretty close to the height. So that's not throwing me off too much, but it's definitely, I have to get used to that extra 2.5 inches of that end of the hammer. Okay, you can see it. Questions as we go, because I can do both.
So is that a subtle way of saying that you need to make another one soon?
One is already being made, but yes. Yeah, I'm actually having one of these guys, another one of these, the Kestrel's made. So this is the brand new Kestrel that was more of the prototype. And Mark's doing a cork version of it. And Mark's philosophy, and I'm kind of starting to wonder if it's if it is fully legit, because his thought is as short a hammer as you can get away with is going to be best. As the shortest hammer you can get away with, to have the shortest distance, to have the most control. So he's very much against today's, longer levers.
Remind me how long that one is. That 13?
I think this one's at almost 13. Into the trichords. If I did this, I'm probably going to actually order a different tip from Randy, because I do feel like this is just too tall. I don't know why it feels so much taller, but I love the weight of it, and I love the texture of the cork. And I'm really curious, for those that are coming to the in-person, what people gravitate towards. When you go to your concert grands, you're going to be... Usually they're not crazy out of tune. I don't know if you've experienced that too, Jacob, but when I do the concert grands, they keep up on it. I might have some unisons that are ridiculous, but for the most part, I'm not having to do major pitch corrections.
I think it just depends on the venue. Because I have had some that are like Well, I
That's
just need a
true.
pitch raise. What? So yeah.
Speaking of Oregon Zoo, for those that are coming to the retreat, that's a great place to be, and they actually do concerts. And I was I was tuning for a concert, and I thought I was having to do a pitch raise because the piano was ridiculously out of tune. Turns out, after I got halfway through and the crowd was starting to swarm, that I had my device set to A442. And so I had to quickly retune the entire thing back to A440. And I had like 200 kids in the front row just sitting on the grass, just like making the sound of my tuning as I was tuning.
Ah, that.
In the heat of summer. I saw that video you posted, Jacob.
Yeah.
I thought it was construction.
I know, it was really loud. It was the bass drums especially.
Oh. Yeah, I think I'm pretty used to this now. This is pretty cool. The cork. When you're doing concert work for these venues and you talk, there's been some instances where I talk to the artists themselves that are playing, and that can go well or it can go not well. I'll just say that. What I can say is less is more. The less you talk, the better, because a lot of times as they're playing for a big event, they're kind of in their head, and maybe potentially any little thing could maybe throw them off. So you going and just being like, oh yeah, and I got this new setting on my device that I'm going to be using, and it works really well. And they're like, wait, use a device, or wait, what kind of a structure are you going to do, or wait, blah 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 blah, and it just can derail the entire thing. And then they get in their head. So if you're going to be working with the artists, less is more, just for their sake and your sake too, because you don't want to be put in that position as well. You can hear about the amount of force. For those just wondering, I'm just walking down. Whoopsie. You know what's weird is that I don't know if I've always said it, but all of a sudden I'm saying whoopsie a lot lately. I don't know what it is. I had that happen the other day. I'm like, whoopsie. I just said it. So I'm just walking down the rubber mute. Again, the way that I do it is I like to mute off the middle and the right string and then tune my far left string to the device. So it's a G. Oh, G. And I just walk it over. There's so many different muting techniques, and I like just the efficiency of the one mute. For me, that's what I like, and just simple. So I have decided though that I do like using a lighter lever for my uprights. Hands down, I like that. I'm used to that now. I'm just not used to the lighter levers on the grands yet.
That's a recent change then. That's
It is.
probably within the last month, huh?
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah, I have because of how light it is, I have dropped it in the sense of like when I'm moving it from the pin because it's just so light and it almost doesn't stay on the pin as I don't know what it is like because there's no weight to it. It doesn't stay on the pin. So I've dropped it twice.
Yeah,
And
it's
luckily,
easier. It's easier to not set it as deep, I think.
yeah.
That's where I've almost dropped mine several times because it's not quite seated all the way on the pin on uprights at least. That's kind of where I get that danger as well.
One thing to remember as you're going is you're going to be more for the most part, I'll say this, you are going to be more anal about the little nuances of the tuning than anybody else. I've never, maybe 3 times in 25 years, have had a customer be like, do you not hear that? And I'm like, ooh, yeah, I guess I can. And usually it's not that case. It's usually you're like going and stressing and be like, ooh, I feel like there's a little bit of a swell and I don't like that. And so you're usually going to be the one to notice that more. All that to say is there is a philosophy where good enough is good enough if your standards are high enough. And so make sure you have the high standards, but just know that in some cases, like I'm like, oh no, that sounds pretty good. I'm gonna leave it. You don't have to kill yourself. Early on, I was like, no, I need to actually move every tuning pin and every string. I need to tune everything. And now I'm like, well, no, that's actually pretty close. I'm leaving that. That's good. Move on. It's almost like you become a better tuner the more you don't care. I know that sounds weird, but I mean, you care. But early on, it was like I was spending days tuning a piano because I cared so much and it needed to be just right, and I would just stress out. And it was like nothing I could do. And then as somebody started to say, you only have this much time, just do it. And it forced me to actually do it. And then I just got, the tunings actually sounded better when I wasn't allowed to mess with it.
And David, that's a work.
Oh, sorry.
So that's kind of a work in progress for me, and we can talk about it more at the retreat. But it's trying to move faster and not be as critical on myself as I move through the tuning.
I actually, now as I go back to this concept, I had 2 of my mentors, John and Rick, that were able to come behind me and be like, that's good enough. Good, move on. And having that was so helpful. So that's part of what we want to do at these retreats. Jacob and I and Stacy is just look at what people are doing, make any refinements, and then be like, yep, that's it, good enough, go. You got it. For me, that was huge because it was like, oh, wait, I have it. I can do that. Rick, John said it was good, and those guys are dialed in. Okay. It was so huge, and it was it was such a big launching point.
One thing that I thought of when you said that was also when you're learning piano, if it was up to me of whether or not or when I'm gonna perform a piece, I'm always gonna pick way later down the line. And in retrospect, looking back at the amount of preparation and how you prepared for a concert, you kind of just have to go, okay, this is as good as I can get it right now. And I kind of applied that to tuning. You have this amount of time. If you had your choice, sure, you could spend way longer. But in the client's house. You have this amount of time. Do the best you can in that amount of time, because that's the concert date. That's your deadline. You got to do it.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good. No, and if you think about it in that sense, it's like, okay, this makes sense.
And
I think
I've
that
never
people-
I've never appreciated it until, now that I'm getting gray hairs and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's why they do concerts when you're learning piano. Like, it's to put a finality to it. It's to actually push you to, okay, this is it. I'm gonna do it now, and then move on.
Guys, it is such a. It is so fun. I think I was saying, said this to somebody. It's so fun to be able to work with Jacob on everything that we're doing, because he not only shares the same values, but because of his experience in the rebuilding and in retail as well as service work, there's just a common language that him and I share. And Jacob, I really appreciate that. I think it's fun.
Yeah, you'll Venmo me later, right?
Exactly.
We talked about it.
It's on the way.
Wink, wink, wink.
You guys, I'm not gonna lie, it is a disaster bomb zone in the school right now. Like, it is, and I'm not even gonna show you how messy stuff is. This week I was rebuilding an action for a big old retirement center. It's like a $12,000 action rebuild job that we were doing. And so I was doing that, and we filmed 78 videos so far, like in one of our courses. Like, it's ridiculous. Sorry, I'm just going off topic. But at any rate, there's spin-it action everywhere. There's grand pianos pulled apart. There's tools everywhere that we're filming. So I'm probably going to send some pictures just so people know. That way, when you come here, you'll be like, wow, it's really clean.
So I have a question, because you kind of mentioned it earlier. How often are you having clients or symphonies or high-end pianos being tuned to 441 or 442 as opposed to 440?
I always ask. I would say that in 20 years, I've only had 2 that have wanted a 440. 2. They always want a 440 for me. What about you, Jacob?
I've never had anyone in their home have anything besides 440, unless they wanted 432 or something lower. I've had that before.
Yeah. No, and it was interesting that the times that I've done it in the past, that has already been requested ahead of time. It's not like I even talked about it with them. They're like, we're playing this piece, these pieces, and we would like it to be set to this frequency or this. And I'm like, yeah, totally. To me, hands down, I love tuning A442 or more. I think the pianos sound great. It's interesting because I just was reading this comment by another technician, and they had said that they had come to this piano and it was tuned to A440, but it said on the plate, because it was an older piano, that it should, it was A435 or something like that. And this technician was ridiculing the last technician for tuning it to A440. And they were saying, it's only been in the last blah, 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 this many years that we're at standard pitch. And it doesn't take that much to read what this should be. And because they used to make the pianos differently back then for A440 or A435, and they had to change it for A440. I don't think that's true. They didn't change anything. They just tightened up the strings. They didn't change the design, because and I think that that's a misconception. There was they weren't like, oh yeah, we need to heat up the plate now to a different degree because we're going to have more pressure. We need to add more bracing. That's not what happened. So yes, you totally can bring it up to A440, even if it says international pitched A435, assuming the strings are going to hold. But it just kind of, it was weird because I almost said something in this thread to kind of like call it out, but I'm like, no, that's ridiculous. But it was weird even reading that. I got kind of, somewhat upset, but then I'm like, wow, this is how people get into these whatever Facebook, discussions, because we are passionate about it.
If you're tuning for an orchestra, you're going to keep it at A440, correct? Or have you ever had a request otherwise?
Say it one more time, Robert.
I mean, if you're tuning for a concerto with an orchestra, have you done anything other than 440? Because you get your tuning note from the piano.
There's this quartet that I tuned for, and they did a recording. It was an all-day recording session, and they're recording these pieces. And I believe for that one, I did A442, but then because it was a rented piano, I think I had to bring it back down to A440 at the end of it. But they had me contracted to be there all day, so they would play something and then want me to tune in between takes. It was kind of bizarre.
Sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, it was pretty profitable. I just they had this couch there. I just kind of took a nap and then listened to amazing music and tuned the piano that didn't need tuning like 10 times.
Yeah, do some unisons again.
Exactly. It was more of the placebo effect, though. I think they were just like, okay, yes, he's doing something, so it's perfectly in tune.
David, in that scenario, you are probably more looking at unisons than you are the tuning at that point, correct?
100%. And I'm trying to be careful how much I'm moving anything, especially in those scenarios, because I'm like, it's going to be close. So sometimes what I'm doing is kind of adding a little bit of pressure to the pin, and then maybe doing like a hard blow, just to kind of jostle it down a little bit, up or down. Jacob, do you do that?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, to kind of stress it.
Yeah.
And again, the hard blow is about as hard as a pianist is going to hit it, and no harder than that.
Yeah, it's not like we're wailing on it.
Yeah, exactly.
But typically I tune really pretty quietly. Jacob, you do as well, right? You're a quiet tuner?
I'm kind of both. Because I will hit it at the end, but it's easier to hear your overtones when it's a little bit quieter. At least the ones that you're listening for.
Yeah.
Okay, so where you're putting your hand,
yeah.
That's where the ball end needs to go.
Yeah. No, totally.
That's what I think. At least for you, that seems like
for
the
me,
natural
sure.
spot for you.
By the way, just so people can see, because they'll be like, wait, why is he so far over this way or that way? One, it's because I'm trying to do this around the mic or the cameras. But also, if you notice, when I am moving, I'm still keeping this shape. So even if I'm, God forbid, over here, I am moving my entire body to keep this shape. So I'm not here doing this. And two things about that, the idea of that position. One, I don't think you're not as stable, and it's. I've even seen people kind of doing this thing, and I'm like, I don't know how. I mean, you can learn how to do anything, right? But for me, I'm always getting you know, like this. And so even when I'm changing that position a little bit, I'm still changing my body so that I'm keeping this. I'm using so much of my shoulder area, that whole back area and that muscle. And again, it just helps me from hurting myself, and it just feels like I have so much more control. I also started doing this thing. I feel like a little gentleman. I don't know if I've always done this, but I'm like, I now cross my leg right here when I'm sitting at the piano. So I don't know why. I don't know if I've always done that and I'm just now noticing it or what, but.
David, I have a question.
Yeah.
Getting back to the placebo effect, someone's willing to pay for you to come tune their piano, and it's pretty good. And a lot of notes, it's like next. You don't really need to look in. How do you fill that time, and what do you feel like you're trying to do to make the piano better, even though the tuning may be pretty darn good?
Great question. I always go, if it's an upright, I check lost motion, I check back checking. That's an easy thing because those are kind of low hanging fruit. If it's a grand, I'm evening out my blow distance. So that's a simple thing that'll take another 15 minutes. But yeah, sometimes I get into customers' houses, I'm like, I'm done, and I don't even realize how quick, because I go into this like zone. It's like I don't even know I'm tuning. I'm just tuning. And then I kind of wake up at one point when I'm like, oh, shoot, it's only been 20 minutes and I'm at the final this. Maybe I take a couple breaths, maybe start doing some of the paperwork, slow down if you know, but for the most part, I'm just kind of going through a list of other things that I would want to do if it was my piano. A lot of people ask, they're like, because they hear what I'm doing and they just look at me and they're like, oh, I had to leave the room. That's so intense. How do you do this all day? I'm like, I don't even know I'm doing it. You know, like half the time. It's just so.
That's what I tell people. It's like, this is my therapy. Like, don't take this from me.
Yeah. Don't take this from me. But it is funny because I've had so many customers that will sit on the couch next to the piano, sit on their chair, and legit fall asleep. Like, gone. Like that is a common thing, all ages.
So, David, when you're, in the zone, and then you get interrupted by the customer, they're asking a question. How quickly does it take you to get back in the zone? I feel like I kind of have to reset myself, take a couple of minutes to kind of get back into that zone again of tuning. Is that happening for you as well?
That's a good question. It does happen for me, and I do think that it takes a good 5 minutes or so to really kind of get back there. Sometimes if I don't even, if I'm tuning and then somehow I get out of the zone, sometimes I move on to something else. If I know I'm going to voice the hammers, I might tune a section. I'm like, man, I'm just kind of not feeling this tuning right now. So I might just go ahead and needle some of the hammers and do that, and then use that as a reset to then get back and do the tuning. So I do that as well. So like in both ways, because sometimes you never fall into that groove of tuning, in a particular job. I've had that happen before where I'm like, geez, I don't know if I'm just so much in my head. I'm thinking about other things, whatever. But sometimes that you're wrestling it the entire time, and you never find that Zen moment. This, by the way, is not a great occupation to have if you want to have any kind of bracelets. So that's one thing I've learned over the last couple of years.
I don't want to get you out of the zone, but give us your thoughts how this compares to the hammer that you've used for years. Good and bad.
I feel like I'm so far away from the pin, and I don't know what that is all about. And I think it's a combination of how much longer this is and how much lighter it is. So the lighter the hammer, the more you're gonna have to work because it has no weight. Like you'll feel everything because it's so light. You're making every movement. But like if I were to just use, like, let's just say this one right here, this is the Ergo, which I have to say is my favorite concept lever. Like I love everything about this as a design. Like I don't even know if they're making these right now. I think that's in, but just the marrying of true nature. Like this is just a branch of wood. It's not turned, that they sanded down and they married with full-on industrial metal, steel. And I love the two, how they come together in this design. So I'm a big fan of this one. It is the same. Yeah, it's like legit the same size lengthwise, but because it is heavier, I mean, this weighs a significant, let me think. It's in line with, actually, it's slightly less, it's slightly lighter than my Yawn, but it's somewhat close. So it is pretty heavy. And just tuning it like this. I feel like hold on. I feel like it's doing some of the work for me. And with the Casado, with the cork, I'm doing all the work. Now, Mr. Kestrel. By the way, does anybody know what a kestrel is? I had to look this up. I thought it was just a sound, like a word. It's not.
It's a bird.
Dang it, you already knew. Okay, yes, it's a bird. Which is actually, I looked it up and they had like the videos of it, and it looks like it's frozen in the air. The bird, the way it flies. It's like the wings are flapping.
Your camera froze right when you said that.
It's stationary. Oh,
Yeah,
can you hear me now?
kestrels can hover and basically adjust their wings so that when they're flying into the wind, they'll hover. It's pretty wild.
Yeah,
Stacey?
you're back. It was just weird. You said you said they'll freeze, and then your camera just like froze, like for effect. And then it came back. I was like, that's crazy.
It was perfect timing because your hand froze right when you said that too.
So now I'm on to the Kestrel, which again, look at the difference. Both carbon fiber. We were right here, but yeah, that's quite a bit of a difference right there. And then also the tuning tips. That's about a 1/2 inch difference. So I'm way closer down into the pin.
How securely do you feel the cork is setting the pin in comparison? That it's good with that.
That's a good question. That's a good question. Let me see. It is fun. I'm really grateful to be able to try all of these. I mean, that's so cool. Well, yeah, that's weird to think I can try all of these. That's a good question, Robert. I'm not 100% sure that I'm not bending the pin more than I'm turning it. And I don't know if it's because of that length on the head or if it's the length on the overall lever. You know, it's going to be interesting when you all get here, what everybody gravitates towards. Okay, see, now I'm all in my head about it all. So now we're going to go back to the old tried and true, the yawn. And this is a tank. I'm excited for you all to play around with this one too, because you'll be like, okay, that's ridiculous. This weighs so much. But it is narrower than all the other levers. It is the diameter is much less, much smaller. I don't know why, and it could just be the fact that like my entire career has been with this lever, but I know I'm tuning the tuning pin. I feel I'm moving the tuning pin, and I don't know why. I don't know why that is the case with this one. I also feel, because the others are so light, and I have to get over it, but I have to get over the fact that I feel like I'm going to break them. You know, they're so light. For whatever reason, right here in this section, the pins are way more poppy. So saying that's the case, I'm going to move back to the Sato, see if that helps with the poppiness. I don't know. I do love the texture though of this, of that cork. Did I hear that somebody else got a cork lever? Did somebody sell it? They got one? No.
David, when setting up new pianos, do you feel like there's certain brands that require less work than others coming out of the box, so to speak?
There's certain brands for sure. So there's like Busendorfer and the high-end Yamaha brands need very little, I find. They don't need a lot. Steinway historically has needed a ton, even though they're at a similar price point. You know, they've. I was talking with Rick, the GM of the local Steinway, and he says, David, you know how we used to spend 3 days dialing in a brand new Steinway? He says, this Steinway right here is just out of the box. And I was amazed at how not only well it sounded, but how well it played. So Estonia's, I feel like I have to do a lot to get them ready. You're going to see Estonia's at Classic. And they can be great, but they take a little bit to finesse to get them that way. Mason and Hamlin's, same thing. The Schimmels, I feel like come out of the box pretty good. I'll have to ask my brother Adam because he preps all of those over there. but it's weird how unique. I mean, I guess that's what you're buying, but there's not a one size like, oh, if you get a grand piano over $100,000, it's going to be dialed in. No, it's just not the case. I would say that Busendorfer, and I just found this out recently. I knew that they only made several hundred a year, but I didn't know that only 50, 60 of them make them stateside. Just so few. And the Busendorfers, the quality control at that level is just outrageous. So if, let's just say Busendorfer's making 300 pianos a year, even Steinway, which is considered a small batch, you know, in comparison to Yamaha, they're making 3,000. You know, so 10 times, 10x the amount of pianos that Busendorfer's doing. But Busendorfer, the quality is just, it is pretty unreal. And I tuned a Fazioli the other day. And it was a 9-foot concert Fazioli, and I mean, it was nice. I didn't hear it have its own voice like I would have expected. Like it didn't have its unique characteristics. It just sounded like a really nice piano, like you would hear a nice recording of a nice piano. That's what it sounded like. Jacob, have you tuned many of those?
Missed the first part of that.
Say again?
I missed the first part of that. Tell me again.
Yeah. The other day, sorry, what was I saying? I tuned a Fazioli. I tuned a Fazioli the other day, and I was somewhat underwhelmed not that it wasn't a great, phenomenal piano, but it just, the sound of it just didn't. It sounded almost generic.
Okay.
Have you played and been around much of those Faziolis?
I have. I think I might be spoiled just because I'm right around Rick Baldson, who partners with Fazioli a ton, and he knows how to voice it and everything. So he's kind of dialed it in quite a bit. So it's really nice, actually.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed it, but also I have noticed that, especially in his shop, when he used to have both Bosendorfer and Fazioli, he would especially he prefers the Fazioli. So I don't know if he spent more time, or I don't know, but usually side by side, I did prefer the Fazioli over the Bosendorfer in his shop. So for whatever reason that is, I don't know.
Yeah. No, and I'm thinking it might have been just something that maybe it wasn't kind of fully done up and prepped. It was really far out of tune, so I'm sure that didn't help as well. So, all right. That is. I mean, I'm down to the. Sorry. I'm gonna fix this. Sorry, I'm gonna fix. Be patient. It's coming back. Don't worry. I'm gonna switch it. CFX is a very high-end 9-foot concert grand. It tunes up great. I like being able to try these different levers, but I think that what I'm realizing is how much we get used to what we're used to, and it's sometimes hard to break out of that mold. And so I'm going to keep playing around with all of these, and I am interested to see as you all get here and get to really play around with all of these, what people gravitate towards, and see if there's a commonality of like, no, everybody, you know, maybe everybody's goes back to this lever that they don't even make anymore, and then like, oh, I guess the artisan school needs to create a 10-pound tuning lever. It's not really 10 pounds, but it feels like it. Yeah. Thank you for joining. There's more to come. There's so much more stuff we're going to be doing. Now that we have all the pianos, now that we have the school, we're currently working on all the courses. And once we have everything really dialed in, I'm really excited to start doing that much more when we have rebuild projects. And by the way, I'm probably going to be posting some over the next 2 days of the work I'm doing at this big old rebuild. I'm going to put it back into the concert venue today. And so I'm probably going to do some lives, and I'll just kind of post those. So if you're there, great, but they'll be probably available because that might be kind of cool. So thank you so much. And